It is known that in the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church forbade the use of certain sounds, frequencies. It's well known the Catholic Church forbade the use of certain frequencies to be used in any music played in its churches and other places of worship. The sound sequence became known as the Devil's Chord, or Diabolus in Musica, to give it its Latin rendering. Essentially, if you know anything about music theory, this is essentially a tritone, a combination of notes designed to create a chilling or foreboding atmosphere. And an example of this can be heard in the iconic Deep Purple track, Smoke on the Water. Allow me to demonstrate. You may recall this iconic riff. Or something to that effect. Smoke on the water. Smoke on the water. Now, I wish to, in future videos, pick back up with this topic of music theory, tritone, and I will examine this effect upon our human divine components, how our consciousness is affected by these frequencies. I'll, at a future video, pick back up on that. However, on a lighter note, no pun intended, Thank you. On a lighter note, it can also be heard in the opening music for the hugely successful and still ongoing TV cartoon series, The Simpsons. At least I think it's still going on, I don't know. However, in an ecclesiastical setting, it has been speculated that these sounds may have caused the congregations in churches, especially if they had been constructed using a specific ratio that became known as the golden mean, rather like the Neolithic peoples in the chamber or passage tombs, to experience altered states of consciousness and in effect experience God, to see God as it were. And this was something that the church could not allow. This was something that organized religion could not allow, since it was the sole adjudicator of who could or could not have such an experience. So it simply banned them. And in a typical mental judo mental sleight of hand that the church and organized religion has been responsible for, they took something that was essentially good and branded it of the devil, the bogeyman to scare, to keep the masses in line. So that's why perhaps Deep Purple was so hugely popular, because of their use of the Diabolus in Musica, the tritones that the church banned. Now, initially, as we have seen, the technique was used to elevate the consciousness of our forefathers. In contrast, nowadays, as with anything that might give an advantage to the masses, to the awakening masses, it has been weaponized and is used as an adjunct to interrogation. This shows that, once again, it's about control. Organized religion is about control. People that come along and throw around the word Jesus, they're just attempting to scare you and get you back in line with all the little sheeple. Are you one of the sheeple? If you do not count yourself among the sheeple, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for further videos on this topic. But this shows once again that these controllers, and that's what it's about, control. And we must never forget that they, the controllers, the Illuminati, the Alpha Draconin, Reptilian, Negative ET, Sikaar Empire, they are not stupid, and everything they do or permit to happen has a reason. Now, my ancestral bloodline runs back to the Druids, through Fermanagh and the Maguires of Fermanagh, and there's much history in my family tree about dealing with Celtic Christianity, and it's a particular brand of Christianity that was a nice blending of the ancient knowledge and the Druidic practices. And if it had not been, actually, this is how everything, when it's elevated from a purely dualistic standpoint, like, oh, that was evil that the Christians came and drove out the Druids and changed all that. Well, had it not taken place, that these early Christians, these early Celtic Christians that converted from Druidic practices, the secrets of our ancestors, at least for the Druidic ancestral bloodlines, would have been lost. Because as we know, the monks of Christianity were scribes. They documented, they were prolific in their treatment of knowledge. So, and it's been said that the Irish monks actually saved Western civilization when the Roman Empire failed with their preservation of knowledge. But the ancestor secrets, the ancient Celt, their secrets would have been lost had it not been for these early converts to the new religion of Christianity, Christianity. So there is always, nothing damning in its entirety of one particular facet of our reality. So when Christianity arrived on the island of Ireland, it came with empty hands. However, what those who brought it found was an island with a complicated belief system that was created over hundreds, if not thousands of years, which already had many gods and goddesses associated with it. In fact, there is much scholarly knowledge, research and documentation that maintains that Ireland is actually Atlantis, is the still visible part above the water of the former island of Atlantis. And I agree. That is my contention as well. Now, conversion of the old gods was a priority. So over the following centuries, many of these ancient, already established gods were amalgamated into this new Christian faith. And of course, given a whitewashed jacket and a new identity. Now, I want to share a letter from Pope Gregory I to Meletius in 601 AD. And this is in regards to this conversion, or rather absorption, and how this letter demonstrates this as blatantly obvious how Christianity came and basically just took the native beliefs that were already in practice and just absorbed them into the framework of Christianity. So I'm going to read this letter, and that's what this is dealing with, okay? So, but this, I'm not trying to be damning of, sharing this letter of what happened with Christianity and the old gods and the old religion. It's a type of it's sort of pragmatism in its finest display. So, very smart people. I'm sure that's, the Romans were that when they expanded their empire, they allowed the local people to pretty much do what they will with their culture and their beliefs, just as long as they paid their money to the Caesar, right? So, render unto Caesar, so they say. So where a competing belief system was aligned with the dominant one, you see this absorption. And it's a case of, as the mafiosos would say, a case of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer still. It was valid then, and it still is today. So here's the letter I'm sharing with you. And I quote, "Tell Augustine that he should by no means destroy the temples of the gods, but rather the idols within those temples. Let him, after he has purified them with holy water, place altars and relics of the saints in them. For if those temples are well built, they should be converted from the worship of demons to the service of the true God. Thus, seeing that their places of worship are not destroyed, the people will banish error from their hearts and come to places familiar and dear to them in acknowledgement and worship of the true God. Further, since it has been their custom to slaughter oxen and sacrifice, they should receive some solemnity in exchange. Let them therefore, on the day of the dedication of their churches, or on the feast of the martyrs, whose relics are preserved in them, build themselves huts around their one-time temples and celebrate the occasion with religious feasting. They will sacrifice and eat the animals not anymore as an offering to the devil, but for the glory of God, to whom, as the giver of all things, they will give thanks for having been satiated. Thus, if they are not deprived of all exterior joys, they will more easily taste the interior ones. For surely it is impossible to efface all at once everything from their strong minds. Just as when one wishes to reach the top of a mountain, he must climb by stages and step by step, not by leaps and bounds. So, there you have it, folks. That's just a little bit of information on how the organized religion would do things, how things have been absorbed and cultures have been appropriated, and see this cultural what is it? What's the big woke thing these days? Cancel culture. What is it all about? Cultural. They call it something reappropriation, or because some white guy goes and raps something. I don't know, but it's been going on for a long time, folks. Just time to wake up and stop letting the deep state, Illuminati, dark cabal manipulate your minds and turn us all against one another. This is an ancient enemy, this old serpent, this devil, this Satan, and their wives. And to ascend to the fifth dimension and claim your fifth dimensional light body, you must be as wise as serpents. That's right. You must know what the strategy of the enemy is, learn how to sidestep it, absorb it, and like the Tai Chi master, take the energy and redirect it. I know you can do it. Hit that subscribe button.
Namaste, namaskaram.